Welcome back to Start Your Own Organic Garden Week on Charlotte Today. I'm Don Rosenberg, the Instant Organic Gardener. Did you know that the price of produce is set to double? Partly because of the drought in California, and the other reason is everything that goes into produce is getting more expensive. Gasoline, labor, insurance. Now, the way to have affordable produce is to start a garden in your backyard, and that's what we're doing this week. Before we get started, though, there are two very important questions we have to ask. Number one, how big should your garden be? And number two, where are we going to put it? Now, the garden size is very important. You don't want one that's so big you can't manage it, but also you don't want one that is so tiny it really doesn't give you enough produce. So the size of a garden is determined by two factors. Number one, the size of your family. How many kids do you have? How old are they? And number two, how many meals do you eat at home? Do you eat salads every night or just occasionally? That's going to help you figure out the size of your garden. A rule of thumb, a 3x8 bed, which is 24 square feet, will generally feed 2 adults for the next 10 years, especially if it has a trellis on the back. And the second part is, how many meals do you actually eat at home? Are you all vegetarians? So if you're going to have 14 meals a week at home, you're going to need a much bigger garden. Now that we know the size of the garden, we have to decide where to put it. You might have one 3x8 bed or two 3x8 beds. You have to figure out where it's going to go in your landscape. The most important thing to know is you need at least 6 hours of sun in order to have a garden be productive. Any less than that and you're really, honestly, wasting your time. Instead of camping out in your yard for hours watching how the shadows fall on the ground, here's a great way to check your sunlight in 30 seconds, even on a cloudy or rainy day. All you have to do is face south. So we're facing exactly south. Now, the sun doesn't rise in the east, it rises in the southeast, and it sets in the southwest. So instead of looking at the ground, we look at how big your sky is. And the way to do that is simply to say, oh, look, over there are some trees, and then you've got wide open sky all the way over to there where there's another tree. If you get 90 degrees, you have 6 hours of sun. If you're in a field, you're going to have 180 degrees. That's 12 hours of sun. Remember, the more sun, the better. Now, the final piece of the puzzle is where are we going to put this garden? A slope like this won't do. You need a spot that's much flatter so the garden can be level. That way, if there's a heavy rain, it won't wash out all the soil. Join me here tomorrow, and we'll continue Start an Organic Garden Week on Charlotte Today, and I'll talk about the summer crops and how to grow them. I'm Don Rosenberg, the Instant Organic Gardener.
Don Rosenberg, thank you so much. He does such a good job.
He does.
Inspires me to go grow a garden.
Me too.